I've been interning this semester at Monticello in Charlottesville, Virginia, the historic plantation home of Virginia Governor and U.S. President Thomas Jefferson. I've been working in their Jefferson Library, the research library, and here's a quick look at their website offering users lots of different resources for researching all things Thomas Jefferson and founding fathers in early America, including their wiki, the Thomas Jefferson Encyclopedia, where users can browse topics in a directory style. They can see topics represented conceptually here in the tag cloud and can browse for information, search for information rather more traditionally on the wiki. I've been working with the Technical Services Librarian on a project called Thomas Jefferson's Libraries, and this project seeks to identify the books that Jefferson owned in his personal libraries at various stages in his life as a young man, as lawyer and governor and president, and then later in his retirement. In 1815, Jefferson sold his entire library to Congress to aid them in establishing the Library of Congress, and so had to go about collecting new books to serve as his retirement library. This website, hosted on Monticello's server, has just recently gone live in the last couple weeks, actually. And so the project houses a searchable database of catalog records identifying the books, as well as other information. Jefferson would recommend books to others to read. Law students would write to him asking for appropriate books to read for the study of law, that sort of thing. There's information here about the project and methodology, that sort of thing. And then some general information about Jefferson and his passion for reading and collecting books and building libraries. And I think that this is a fascinating project in that context, to think about Jefferson's legacy, not so much as one of architecture and related to place, but really related to information dissemination and libraries and books. So recently, in the last year or so, the project has also been linking up with and moving content to Library Thing. And here's Thomas Jefferson's profile in Library Thing, and this is what the project data looks like in Library Thing. You can see the different libraries represented here in collections, and then Library Thing offers some different options that make this an interesting platform to use. The tagging system allows us to employ Jefferson's his own classification nomenclature, and then there are some different social media aspects of Library Thing that make this an interesting choice for this project, and I get into some of that in the content area writing, and I'll discuss some of that in the next webcast as well. So what I've been working on is the books that Jefferson inherited from George Wythe, who was his law tutor and mentor. And if we click on that, we see sort of a more traditional library catalog display. And I've been creating records or updating records if they already existed in Library Thing to represent some new information that librarians at Jefferson Library and Massachusetts Historical Society discovered about the Wythe bequest in 2008. They discovered a document in Jefferson's handwriting, a list of book titles that they believed to be the list of the titles that Wythe bequeathed to him. So we're in the process of updating catalog records and creating new records against that list in order to represent that new knowledge and sort of tell the story within the catalog record of where these titles came from George Wythe, how Thomas Jefferson represented those items in his own library catalog. Jefferson was a meticulous keeper of book lists and kept a sort of master catalog of his great library at Monticello that he was constantly revising throughout the years. And then whether or not Jefferson sold that book to Congress in 1815, or for some reason or another did not, he didn't sell necessarily his entire library. Sometimes he held on to items for his retirement, it seems, or for other reasons that we're not sure of. And so these records, I think, really present an interesting interactive experience for users, and for that reason, again, makes LibraryThing an interesting choice, both for the library cataloging items in LibraryThing and then for users seeking and retrieving information in this environment. So this project then is contributing to a larger group effort. This is part of the social aspect of LibraryThing, called Libraries of Early America. And these are members who, like the Jefferson Libraries project, are seeking to identify the personal libraries of anybody influential in early American history. So the Founding Fathers, certainly, but not just the Founding Fathers. Anybody who had a stake in shaping early America and influencing its culture. And so if we go back to Thomas Jefferson's profile page here, we see that project represented in this section, and this is where LibraryThing's social aspect really sort of comes alive, and we see Jefferson sharing 368 titles with John Adams, 215 titles with George Washington. And I think that this area especially has great potential for new scholarship, new types of information discovery, as users are able to access this data and these resources in ways that potentially they are not in traditional library settings and by traditional library services. So I've certainly enjoyed working on this project, and I've enjoyed the LibraryThing environment, and for some of these reasons I've included this project here in this content area as representative of libraries using technology and new forms of technology to solve problems creatively and practically, and advance research and contribute to new forms of research and scholarship. And with that, I'll conclude this webcast, and in the second webcast, I'd like to lead you through an individual catalog record in the LibraryThing database and sort of show the rich data that's represented there and linked up in the different resources that we're using. So thanks, and I'll meet you in the next webcast.